Today's topic is gamifying your goals for consistent progress. The anticipation of a reward creates a dopamine spike, which fuels the desire and motivation to achieve that reward. So it's not only when you get the reward that you have a dopamine spike, but also in anticipation of the reward. So how can you leverage that in your habit tracking and in your goals? So I took a habit tracker that I created for a different video, just like a very minimal habit tracker, and I'm going to experiment with how you can gamify this and sort of build in a reward system for yourself. So first, I think that it might be more helpful to make these habits a little bit more specific. So for example, if you want to do meditation, it would be like meditate, let's say meditate 10 minutes. And then another thing that I will say is that you want these to be feeding into broader goals. So since we have 3 habits here, I'm going to make 3 call outs. And I'm going to have those be broader goals or things that we are working towards. So gonna duplicate this. Obviously this is hypothetical, but for example, so for meditate 10 minutes, maybe it's more broadly to improve mental and spiritual health. And then this is the specific actionable thing that you have chosen to do to work towards that goal. For physio, maybe that's recover from injury and get back in the gym. Again, obviously really dependent on your own situation. I'm gonna make this a comment. Okay, and then lastly, for early wake up, maybe you are working on your business or some sort of other endeavor and you want to get deep work done in morning. Great. So these are our broader goals that we're working towards. These are the things that are feeding into those goals. Obviously, want to make this a little bit more specific. And then I think this one we can probably keep for here. Okay, great. Then I built this in the other video that this would be like a what went wrong, what went right. Like you could sort of like journal or reflect on how things went. But the way that I am systematizing this is I'm going to add a number. And I'm going to make this percent completion. So for example, say you had 3 in a day, you would have 100%. Obviously the numbers don't work out really nicely here, so you could also just do, actually what may be simpler is if you just use like a simple digit format, so you got all 3, cool. Here we just got 1. So yeah, obviously you can count it up the way that you want. It'll also maybe depend on how many habits you are tracking, but anyway, what you should do then is to actually map out beforehand what you want those rewards to be. So here I'm just going to do some quick brainstorming. Obviously different for each person. Maybe it's the new purse that you have had your eye on, that you are going to buy it for yourself if you do X, Y, and Z. And I think a lot of the times we just end up buying the thing for ourselves anyway, so it's really not like you're spending extra money. You're just sort of allotting those rewards that you are oftentimes already getting yourself to something actionable that you were doing and you can feel proud of yourself for. So for another one, like it might be as simple as like, yeah, like that, like, I don't know, just that treat that you walk past every day that maybe you usually only get on special occasions. So I'm not going to spend too much time brainstorming this because I think it is super specific to each person. But I think you probably get the gist of where I am going with this. So you make a list of those. And then what I would say is that depending on your cadence, for something like a new purse, maybe that is if you get 75% complete by the end of the month that you buy it for yourself. So you don't have to get 100%. It's also just about rewarding yourself for effort and not always having to have everything black and white, perfect and imperfect. Say 75%, maybe that is your goal by end of month. So that's what you would need to do. For this, maybe that is more like if you got, again, making this up, 85% by the end of the week. That is something that you want to get for yourself. So super simple, but I think that it makes this whole process a lot more fun, and it truly does gamify the process. If you want to get more fancy with it, you can also bring in other people as accountability partners. Maybe if you and a friend are both habit tracking, you go out for dinner with each other by the end of the week if you both have 85% of your habits done. So a lot of fun things you can do with this. Hope this helps, and thank you.